Hey there, welcome back to Occupy Democrats, and raise your hand and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see Mango Muppet and AG Blondie Bondi go to jail, because Lord knows I would. And in this breaking story, we are getting close to the precipice of that being the case, one step closer for one Miss Pam Bondi. You are gonna want to see this because it's Thursday, and guess what tomorrow is? Friday. Oh yeah, we're on Bondi Behind Bars Eve right here, right now. I'm going to show you that story in just a few seconds. But let's remember, this has happened in 4 very clear and distinct phases for Miss Bondi regarding the Epstein files and the protection, the uber protection of Donald J. Trump. Here's step 1.
Pam Bondi and the Epstein list. Right back.
Releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
And then here's step 2, when they tried to say, yeah, nothing to see here, this.
President Trump was told by the Attorney General that he is in the Jeffrey Epstein files. He was told he was in the files 2 months ago, and then last week said, no, he wasn't. He was. This was during a briefing on the findings of the Justice Department's review of the documents related to Epstein. That's according to sources familiar with the discussion. Those sources said the Justice Department's review found that the files appeared to include several unsubstantiated claims that they determined not to be credible, including those relating to Trump.
And then step 3, when they went, oh yeah, no, there's this, but it doesn't really matter because we're just going to butt it all up and put it in the attic and pretend it's going to go bye-bye here.
The Wall Street Journal, who first reported this story, said that AG Bondi, who was joined in the briefing by her deputy Todd Blanche, who previously served as President Trump's attorney in the criminal hush money trial. The briefing took place in May, weeks before the Justice Department released a memo on July 6th attempting to close the book on Jeffrey Epstein, which said, quote, no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted.
And then finally, in the last 3 or 4 months, the abject mayhem that Bondi, her department, Todd Blanche, and everybody else, including Kash Patel at the FBI and Dan Bongino, who's now resigning, have managed to bring this to a chaotic pile that is crumbling beneath them. Here's step 4.
The Trump administration's legal problems just got a whole lot worse. And this time, the person at the center of the disaster is none other than Attorney General Pam Bondi, the woman who is supposed to be running the Department of Justice and defending the administration's policies in court. But instead of competently managing the legal battles, Bondi has managed to turn a bad situation into a catastrophic one by defying a federal court order and then offering an excuse so flimsy that the judge who heard it basically laughed it out of the courtroom.
Well, in this breaking story, step 5 is the fact that if Bondi doesn't come through, she is going to wind up sitting in a courtroom in the witness stand for herself. Check this story out. Breaking news, in quotes, next AG will prosecute. Pam Bondi put on notice of legal reckoning ahead of Epstein drop. Washington, a rebel House Republican openly questioned top Trump administration officials on Thursday about their handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files after House Democrats released dozens of new photos from Epstein's estate amid anticipation for a Justice Department file dump on Friday. These images, including disturbing quotes from Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita, written on a woman's body alongside other unclear context photos of Epstein and redacted women. The novel contains the theme of an adult man's obsession with a 12-year-old girl, mirroring allegations against Epstein. Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Robert Garcia spoke to reporters on Thursday about the case. I think they will be released, in quotes. We'll see. He said of the files expect to be released by the Justice Department on Friday. It'll be interesting if they're not. 15 days after Friday's release, the Justice Department must fork over a report to lawmakers with a list of politicians and government officials in the files. When asked if he thought there would be a cover-up, Massie noted that the officials appointed to review the Epstein files, namely FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi, are not implicated in them. As such, he said there's no reason for them to be reluctant about releasing them. In quotes, why would they be reluctant, he asked. Massie warned that this is a law that lasts forever. In quotes, so the next Attorney General will prosecute this Attorney General or this FBI Director if they do become involved in a cover-up by not being in compliance with this law, he said. Massie also accused House Speaker Mike Johnson of lying above the law. In quote, 3 federal judges cite the Transparency Act, but more importantly, they cite that they're going to redact the victim's name, which was a lie that was told about this bill by the Speaker himself. He said the victims would be exposed by this bill, but all 3 judges said no, there are sufficient protections, said Massie. Massey. When asked if Mike Johnson would remain in power long term, Massey said Johnson would remain in place as long as President Donald Trump wants him there. In quotes, as long as he's on the good side, he's still the speaker, said Massey. Garcia repeated to call to reporters on Thursday to release all the files and also put Bondi on notice. In quotes, let's be very clear that the Department of Justice has to release all the files tomorrow, and I also want to remind the Attorney General that she cannot use any excuse that somehow the law says that if there's an investigation happening, we can, partially not release everything. The subpoena that's in place, that's essentially with the law that oversight passed, does not include that provision. They have to release everything. Garcia threatened the Democrats will use every tool available to them, including going to the courts and taking legal actions to get the files released. In quotes, we're prepared to do that, but we're going to see what happens tomorrow, he said. That's right. And I assure you, there is no pardon awaiting Pam Bondi. No way in Hades is there, because there's no statute of limitations, and anybody with any sense will wait until Trump is long gone before they bring that, so she can't be pardoned. She is not only between a rock and a hard place, she's stuck there without any water, sunlight, or arms to try and pull herself out. So Pam, how's your Friday going to look? And remember, there's always flashback Friday photos in social media from what you do tomorrow a year or two from now. In the meantime, you guys like and share the video. Stay frosty.